The night sky over Earth had never looked so strange. The stars seemed brighter, sharper, almost like eyes staring down from the dark. People around the world noticed strange lights moving in patterns no satellite or plane could make. Governments said nothing. Scientists argued on live TV. And deep under the Pacific Ocean, something ancient and powerful began to move. It started quietly. A small research ship called Aurora Blue picked up signals unlike anything ever recorded. Dr. Emily Hart, the lead scientist, stared at the radar screen. The signals looked like pulses, rhythmic and intelligent, almost like a heartbeat. "Maybe it's a submarine," her assistant whispered. Emily shook her head. "No. It's calling." Before they could send another message, the ocean around the ship began to glow. A blue light rose from the deep like a living wave. The crew rushed to the deck, shielding their eyes. For a second, everyone went silent. Then a giant shadow moved under the water. Long, sharp, and fast. "Get inside," Emily shouted. But it was too late. The ship's lights flickered and died. The last thing anyone saw before darkness took over was something breaking the surface. Tall, armored, with glowing eyes that looked human but were not. News spread fast. Dozens of coastal cities reported missing ships, destroyed radars, and strange storms. Governments tried to hide the truth, but people posted videos online. Bright flashes in the sky, sounds like animal roars mixed with machines. Humanity didn't know it yet, but the hunters had arrived. They called themselves the Korvac. They were known across galaxies as the ultimate predators, hunters who tracked dangerous species for sport. And Earth, with its growing power and violence, had become a challenge. From their orbiting ship, Commander Trath of the Korvac watched Earth through a viewing screen. "Primitive world," he said coldly. "But strong prey. We will test them." His second-in-command grunted. "Reports say they fight among themselves. Easy kill." Trath smiled, showing razor-like teeth. "That's what the others said about the Vornax. And they never came back." Below, in a hidden military base in Nevada, humans were already watching. The strange signals had been tracked. Satellite images showed unknown crafts moving in formation. Colonel James Walker didn't believe in aliens, but now, belief didn't matter. "Sir, they're entering our atmosphere," a technician said, voice shaking. "How many?" Walker asked. "Dozens. Maybe hundreds." Walker stared at the screen. He wasn't sure if this was an invasion or a nightmare. Across the world, panic began. Cities went dark. Communications failed. Strange creatures were sighted in forests and oceans. A massive blackout hit the planet. Then, without warning, everything stopped. For 24 hours, the world went silent. When power returned, every satellite feed showed the same image, a burning mark carved into the surface of the moon. 3 long claws. Humanity had been marked as prey. But something unexpected happened. The hunters did not find fear. They found resistance. In a ruined part of Tokyo, a group of soldiers fought one of the Korvac warriors. The alien was massive, covered in armor that shimmered like liquid metal. It threw cars like toys. But the humans didn't run. They used traps, explosives, and whatever they could find. One soldier, bleeding and barely standing, managed to stab a plasma charge into the creature's chest. The explosion lit up the night. The Korvac warrior screamed, a deep, thunderous sound, and fell. When its mask cracked open, the soldier saw something shocking. The creature's face wasn't completely alien. Its eyes looked almost human. Later, in the command ship, Commander Trath received the report. One of their elite hunters was dead, killed by humans. For the first time in a century, the Korvac fleet went silent. "They are not weak," Trath said slowly. "They are dangerous." He stood before the viewing screen again, staring down at Earth. "Prepare the next hunt. I want to see what makes them fight like this." Far below, in a secret bunker, Dr. Emily Hart was alive. She had survived the attack on Aurora Blue and was now working with Colonel Walker. They studied the alien body recovered from Tokyo. Its blood was dark silver. Its armor was unlike any material on Earth. But what terrified Emily most wasn't its technology, it was its DNA. "Colonel," she whispered, pointing at the screen. "They're not just hunting us. They're related to us." Walker frowned. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying," she said softly, "they've been here before." The lights flickered. Somewhere above, the sky rumbled. The next wave of ships was already entering orbit. And this time, the hunters were angry. But Earth was no longer afraid. The game had changed. Humanity was not prey anymore, it was the new predator. The morning after the second arrival was silent, too silent. The air smelled of metal and smoke. All over the planet, people looked up and saw the alien ships, dark and floating like massive shadows in the sky. They didn't move. They didn't attack. They just watched. In the underground command center, Colonel James Walker stood beside Dr. Emily Hart, staring at the live satellite feed. One of the ships was hovering above New York City. "What are they waiting for?" Emily whispered. Walker's jaw tightened. "A signal. Or maybe, a challenge." Before she could reply, the ship above New York suddenly opened from the bottom like a giant mouth. A beam of blue light shot down, carving a straight line through several buildings. But it wasn't an attack, it was a message. The light formed a symbol in the middle of the city, the same 3 claw marks that had appeared on the moon. The Korvac were marking their hunting ground. In the alien mothership, Commander Trath watched the live feed from his throne-like chair. Around him, his hunters prepared their weapons, sharp energy blades, spiked armor, and devices that hummed with deadly light. "These humans, they kill one of ours and think they are safe," he growled. "We will show them fear." His second-in-command bowed slightly. "But Commander, reports say humans fight without logic. They use chaos, traps, emotion. They adapt too fast." Trath grinned. "Then we hunt smarter. We learn faster." He pointed toward the screen showing Earth. "Begin the descent." The ships broke formation and entered the atmosphere. The sky turned red as hundreds of burning trails cut through the clouds. Sirens echoed across cities. The invasion had begun. In New York, chaos ruled. People ran for cover as buildings shook. Military drones flew in tight swarms, firing missiles at the descending pods. Some hit their targets, explosions tore through the streets, but many of the pods survived and opened like mechanical flowers. From them stepped the Korvac hunters, tall, armored, and silent. They didn't speak. They didn't roar. They just looked around, scanning everything. Then they started to hunt. Walker's voice came over the comms. "All units, do not engage directly. Hit and run only. Draw them out. We're testing their limits." Emily sat at a console, analyzing the data from captured signals. "Their armor is adaptive," she said into her headset. "Every time we hit them, they learn how to block it. But there's a weakness, their helmets. They use sound-based sensors. If we overload the frequency..." Walker cut in. "Then we blind them." He turned to his team. "Get the sound cannons ready." Meanwhile, in the ruins of Central Park, a small group of soldiers set up traps among the trees. Sergeant Reed, a tough man with a scar across his face, loaded his rifle and looked at the horizon. "Remember," he told his team, "these things think we're animals. Let's show them what kind of animals we are." Minutes later, 3 Korvac entered the park, their armor shimmering in the dim light. They moved with the precision of predators, scanning the area. But the humans were ready. Reed gave the signal. A sound cannon hidden underground roared to life, blasting a deep, vibrating tone that shattered glass for blocks around. The Korvacs staggered, clutching their helmets. Then the humans attacked. Grenades, fire, chaos. One alien fell, armor burning. Another tried to leap away but was caught by a net of electrified wires. The last one lunged forward, slicing through a soldier, but before it could strike again, Reed fired straight into its mask. The shot cracked it open, and the creature's face twisted in pain. Blood sprayed. The alien fell. "Targets down!" Reed shouted. The comms came alive. Walker's voice was sharp but calm. "Good work. Now move. They'll come for their dead." And they did. Within minutes, the sky darkened again. A low hum filled the air as new ships appeared. These were smaller, faster, and deadlier. The humans retreated into tunnels, dragging their wounded with them. Emily watched the readings spike on her screen. "They're not just attacking randomly," she said. "They're scanning our defenses. They're studying us, just like scientists." Walker clenched his fists. "Then we give them something to study." He turned to a large sealed door in the base. Inside was a hidden project known only to a few, Project Sentinel. A weapon built from reverse-engineered alien tech found years ago. No one thought they'd ever need it. Until now. Walker keyed in his access code. The door opened, revealing a massive machine, part drone, part living metal, pulsing with faint light. Emily's eyes widened. "You actually built it?" Walker nodded. "We built it because we knew something like this would happen." "Does it work?" she asked. "We'll find out soon," he said grimly. Up in orbit, Commander Trath was restless. Dozens of his hunters had gone silent. He slammed his clawed hand on the console. "How are they doing this? They were supposed to break." One of his officers hesitated before speaking. "Commander, perhaps they are not prey anymore." Trath turned slowly, eyes glowing with rage. "Then we make them remember their place." He activated the ship's core weapon, a massive energy pulse meant to disable life below. But as the weapon charged, something unexpected appeared on their radar, a new signal coming from Earth's surface, aimed directly at them. "Commander!" shouted the technician. "Something is locking onto us." The warning came too late. A beam of pure white light shot from Earth, hitting the alien mothership dead center. For the first time, the Korvac screamed. And far below, in the human base, Walker looked at Emily and said, "Welcome to the counterhunt." The world had changed. The hunters were now the hunted. The explosion above Earth lit up the sky like a second sun. For a few seconds, the world thought it was over, that the alien ship had been destroyed. But when the light faded, the truth was worse. The Korvac mothership was still there. Damaged, yes, smoking, burning, but alive. Pieces of its armor fell into the atmosphere like meteors. In cities around the world, people watched the fiery debris streak across the sky. In the underground base, alarms blared. Dr. Emily Hart stared at the monitor. It worked. But not enough. Colonel Walker nodded grimly. "Then we hit them again." "How long to recharge Sentinel?" Emily checked the readings. "At least 8 hours. It drained half our power grid." 8 hours, Walker muttered. "Let's hope we have that long." Far above, inside the mothership, chaos ruled. Sparks flew across the bridge. Hunters rushed to seal broken panels. Commander Trath stood in the smoke, his armor cracked and his pride wounded. "Status," he roared. "Main weapon offline," an officer replied. "Shields are collapsing. We've lost hundreds of soldiers." Trath's eyes glowed brighter. "Who fired that weapon?" "We don't know, Commander. The energy signature is similar to our own." Trath paused. His expression darkened. "Impossible. No other species could." Then he stopped mid-sentence. Deep in his mind, a memory surfaced, an old story told among his kind. The story of the first hunt. A hunt that took place long before the Korvac ruled the stars. A hunt on a small blue planet, called Earth. His claws tightened. "No," he growled. "It cannot be them. Not again." Back on Earth, Emily and Walker studied the captured DNA from the fallen Korvac. The data was shocking. "It's true," Emily said quietly. They share almost 70% of our genetic code. They're connected to humanity. Walker frowned. You're saying we're part alien? No, Emily said, shaking her head. It's the other way around. They're part human. Walker stared at her in disbelief. That doesn't make sense. How could that be? She brought up a holographic model of DNA. Thousands of years ago, before our recorded history, they must have been here. They took something from us, our genetic base, and evolved it. They became stronger, faster, but they never forgot where they came from. They came back to hunt their creators. Walker's eyes hardened. So they're not just hunting us for sport. They're erasing their past. Outside, the world was burning. Cities had become battlegrounds. The sky was full of falling debris and lightning-like energy storms. But amidst the destruction, humanity refused to surrender. Across Europe, guerrilla groups used captured alien weapons to fight back. In Africa, entire villages turned into resistance hubs. In orbit, a few surviving satellites transmitted a message to every screen on the planet. A single sentence. We are not prey. It spread like fire. In Tokyo, Sergeant Reed and his squad fought through broken streets. He wore damaged armor taken from a dead Korvac, patched together with human gear. Around him, his team had similar makeshift suits. They moved like shadows, hunting the hunters. A roar echoed nearby, deep and metallic. Reed signaled his team to hold position. Through the smoke, a Korvac hunter appeared, towering above them, dragging a massive blade. Reed smirked. Big mistake showing up here alone. He fired a plasma round directly into its chest. The creature stumbled, then swung wildly, smashing into a car. Reed rolled aside, grabbed a fallen beam, and jammed it into the alien's damaged armor. Sparks flew. The creature howled in pain before collapsing. The humans cheered. Reed looked at the sky. If they bleed, we can kill them, he muttered. At the same time, deep in the mothership, Trath stood before the viewing screen again. His wounds had been sealed, but his anger was growing. Commander, said his advisor, our hunters are dying. The humans have adapted. They've learned our weapons. Trath's gaze hardened. Good. That means the real hunt begins. He pressed a symbol on his wrist. The lights in the ship shifted to a dark red. Across the planet, Korvac pods began to open, but these were different. Larger. More advanced. The Alpha Hunters had arrived. These were not soldiers. They were monsters, part biological, part machine, creations built from the DNA of extinct predators across galaxies. Walker received the first reports within minutes. New targets sighted in every major city. They're faster, stronger, and they're learning our tactics. Emily stared at the data. They're evolving during the fight. Every loss makes them smarter. Walker turned to her. Then we don't fight them alone. He pressed a button on the command console. Send the signal. Activate every hidden base. Tell the colonies on Mars and Luna Station, the hunt has come to the whole system. Outside, the sky burned red as the Alpha Hunters descended. Reed and his team ran through the ruins as the ground shook beneath them. One of the new creatures landed nearby, its claws digging into the concrete. It looked at them and hissed, not like an alien, but like something alive, angry, and old. Run! Reed shouted. But instead of fear, there was something else in his voice, excitement. Humanity was fighting not just for survival, but for dominance. For the first time, they were hunting back. As the battle spread across continents, the Korvac fleet struggled to keep control. Trath watched the chaos and whispered, "You were supposed to be extinct." And far below, in the human base, Emily whispered back to the hologram of the alien DNA strand glowing on her screen. "Maybe you shouldn't have taught your creators how to fight." The next phase of war had begun, and neither side was ready for what was coming. The sky burned orange and red. Fires raged across cities, but humans had stopped running. They had learned the Korvac tactics. They were no longer victims, they were hunters. In the underground base, Colonel Walker studied a holographic map of Earth. Red dots marked the Alpha Hunters' positions. Blue dots marked human resistance teams. "We can't wait for them to strike again," Walker said. "We hit first." Emily Hart nodded. "I finished modifying the Sentinel. If we launch it from orbit, it can target their fleet directly. It's our best chance." Walker stared at the map. "Then we need to take this fight to them. Earth is no longer safe." Far above, Commander Trath watched the chaos with growing frustration. Hundreds of his hunters had been destroyed or disabled. Every time he sent a wave, humans adapted. "They are persistent, dangerous," his second-in-command admitted. Trath slammed his clawed hand on the console. "Persistent is what I like. Dangerous is what I respect. But no prey survives the hunt unless I allow it. Prepare the Alpha Hunters. I want Earth cleared in one strike." Below, Walker activated communication channels. "All surviving teams, listen carefully. We strike at once. We take the fight to the skies. Prepare every shuttle, every missile, every weapon we have. Tonight, humanity hunts in space." Emily's fingers flew across the controls. "I've uploaded Sentinel's coordinates to the orbital platforms. Once we launch, it will target their motherships directly." In Tokyo, Sergeant Reed and his team loaded into modified shuttles. Around them, resistance fighters did the same in Africa, Europe, and the Americas. The humans had transformed, scavenging alien tech, building new weapons, learning fast. Reed looked at his team. "Remember this. They came to hunt us. Tonight, we show them what we are capable of." The first launch shook the atmosphere. Humans rose from their hidden bases, breaking through clouds in a swarm of makeshift spacecraft. They moved like shadows, fast and unpredictable. Above Earth, the Korvac fleet sensed the change. Hundreds of alien crafts approached at high speed. They opened fire, plasma beams streaking across the sky. Yet the humans dodged, split, and returned fire with stolen alien tech. Emily watched the screens. "Sentinel is ready. Launch in 3, 2, 1. A massive pulse shot from orbit. It slammed into the Korvac mothership closest to Earth. Metal bent. Energy shields flared and broke. The Alpha Hunters inside screamed as their systems overloaded. Trath's eyes burned with rage. "Impossible. No species can survive this attack." But humans didn't stop. From every continent, their shuttles fired coordinated blasts. The Korvac were losing control. Hunters were falling, pods were destroyed, and the skies were filled with explosions. Amid the chaos, Emily noticed something strange in the DNA sequences she had studied. The Korvac weren't just part human, they were descendants of a human colony that had left Earth thousands of years ago. They had evolved into hunters, perfecting strength, speed, and intelligence, but they were still connected to humanity's survival instincts. Walker appeared beside her. "You mean, this fight isn't just survival. It's family against family." Emily nodded. "We're not only fighting invaders. We're fighting our own evolution, twisted into weapons." Meanwhile, Reed's squad fought above the ruins of New York. One Alpha Hunter, larger than the others, approached them. Its claws glinted in the sunlight, its eyes cold and calculating. "Don't let it touch the shuttles," Reed shouted. The creature lunged, smashing through the side of a shuttle. Reed fired every weapon he had, but it seemed unstoppable. Then, a second pulse from Sentinel hit the mothership above. A shockwave slammed into the Alpha Hunter, sending it tumbling across the city. Reed barely caught his breath. "This is our fight," he muttered. Far in orbit, Trath realized the scale of humanity's strategy. They weren't just defending. They were attacking with planning, intelligence, and courage. "They learn too fast, adapt too quickly," Trath growled. His second-in-command hesitated. "Commander, Maybe Earth is not the prey. Maybe Earth is the predator. Trath's eyes widened. For the first time, doubt crept in. He had hunted countless species, conquered worlds, but he had never faced prey that could evolve in real time, that could strike back with intelligence and fury. Back on Earth, Walker and Emily watched the destruction of the Korvac ships. The humans cheered as one by one, the motherships burned. Emily turned to Walker. They underestimated us. They thought our weakness was fear. But fear can teach strategy. Fear can make prey dangerous. Walker smiled grimly. Then the lesson is clear. Humans do not give up. Humans fight back. The night sky over Earth was on fire. Fires, explosions, and smoke stretched from horizon to horizon. But amidst the destruction, humanity had discovered something more terrifying, and more powerful, than any alien weapon, themselves. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, Commander Trath swore one thing. This hunt is not over. Earth had survived its first counterattack. But the war between hunter and hunted was only beginning. The night was quiet, but the calm was false. Cities still smoked, fires burned in the distance, and the humans who survived knew the fight was far from over. Above Earth, the Korvac fleet had been weakened, but not destroyed. Deep in the ruins of Paris, Dr. Emily Hart scanned data from the mothership debris. Something on the ships had survived the Sentinel pulse, a black box hidden in the core of Trath's command vessel. "Colonel, this isn't just a control system," Emily said, her voice tense. "It's a record. A history of the Korvac, their origin, everything." Walker leaned closer. "Origin?" Emily nodded. "It's the proof I feared. They weren't always hunters. They started as humans. Humans from Earth. Thousands of years ago, a group left this planet, vanished into the stars. Over centuries, they evolved into the hunters we face now." Walker's eyes widened. "So this fight is family against family?" Emily swallowed. "Yes. But it's more than that. Their leaders, the Alpha Hunters, they remember Earth. They've been waiting for the right moment to return, to reclaim it." Far above, Trath felt the first pangs of doubt. His warriors were dying faster than expected. They had trained for centuries, but humans, they were unpredictable, fast, adaptive, dangerous. Back on Earth, Walker convened a council with the remaining leaders of resistance groups. "We've beaten them once," he said, "but now we know the truth. This is not a random attack. They are coming for us, for our planet, and for our genes." Emily stepped forward. "There's something on Earth, something they fear more than our weapons. Hidden long ago, left as a failsafe. It's a weapon, but it's alive. It reacts to the DNA of the hunters." Walker's brow furrowed. "Alive." Emily nodded. "It's dormant, but it's ours. If we find it, we can finally turn the tables." Meanwhile, Trath gathered his surviving hunters. Their numbers were low, morale shaken. "We were supposed to be gods," he growled. "We were supposed to teach fear. Yet the prey fights like lions. Perhaps Earth has changed, or perhaps we underestimated our children." His hunters hissed, anger and frustration mixing in their voices. Trath's claws clenched. "Prepare for total assault. This world will bow to the Korvac, or die trying." On Earth, humans prepared a counterstrike unlike anything before. Shuttles flew from underground bases, weapons charged, and the ruins of cities were turned into battle fortresses. Every survivor had a role. Every soldier and civilian knew the stakes. Sergeant Reed loaded into his shuttle, checking weapons. Around him, other squads joined the fleet. "Tonight," he said, "we hunt the hunters. We end this, or we die trying." Emily monitored every movement from the base. "The weapon is near," she said. "Coordinates match the ancient ruins in the Andes Mountains. It's buried under the ice, untouched for thousands of years. We must reach it before they detect it." Walker nodded. "Then that's our mission. Reed, You and your team lead. Emily, you guide them. This could turn the tide, if we survive long enough to activate it. The human fleet lifted off, flying through skies still filled with debris and burning ships. The Korvac watchers in orbit noticed the movement too late. They're moving to the Andes, one officer shouted. Trath's eyes blazed. Then we follow. Send the Alpha Hunters. Cut them off. Do not let them reach it. On the ground, Reed's team navigated treacherous terrain, snow, ice, and mountains that seemed to go on forever. Every step was dangerous, every shadow could hide a hunter. Emily's voice came through the comms. Almost there. The weapon is under the largest glacier. You'll need to dig deep. And, be ready. It senses them. They will attack as soon as they detect it. As the humans approached the glacier, the ground trembled. Alpha hunters emerged, larger and faster than before. Their claws ripped through ice and rock. Reed raised his weapon. Hold your ground. They don't get this without a fight. The battle began. Plasma blades clashed with human rifles. Explosions echoed across the mountains. But Reed's team pressed forward, determined. Every alpha hunter that fell was replaced by another, yet humans adapted with traps, explosives, and courage. Emily reached the core chamber beneath the ice. The weapon pulsed faintly, recognizing her presence. It was alive, responding to the human DNA she carried. Activate it, she whispered. It knows who the real hunters are. Reed's team cleared the final passage, fighting through the last line of alpha hunters. The pulse of the weapon grew stronger, sending tremors through the mountain. Above, in orbit, Trath watched in horror. No. This cannot happen. They are awakening something we cannot control. The weapon beneath the ice began to glow, sending a wave of energy outward. Alpha hunters fell instantly, their systems overloaded. Trath's fleet reeled from the pulse, confusion spreading. Emily's eyes widened. It's working. It's rewriting their evolution in real time. Reed looked at the mountains around him. We're not just surviving, he said. We're winning. But Trath's scream echoed through the skies. This is not over. Humanity, you will pay for this. And somewhere deep inside the weapon, something ancient and powerful stirred, ready to reclaim Earth. Not just for humans, but for the planet itself. The sky over the Andes burned with fire and energy. The weapon beneath the glacier pulsed brighter, its power reaching far into the atmosphere. Humans had survived the Alpha Hunters' attack, but the war was far from over. Colonel Walker watched the live feed. They're regrouping, he said grimly. Trath isn't finished. He'll come down himself. Emily Hart monitored the weapon. It's alive, Colonel. It reacts to DNA. It can target the hunters directly, even the ones in orbit. But it can't hold forever. We need a plan, now. Far above, Commander Trath's mothership descended. Its massive form cast a shadow over the mountains. Alpha hunters flew around it like deadly escorts. Trath's eyes glowed with rage. Humans, he hissed. You will learn your place. On the ground, Sergeant Reed rallied his team. This is it. This is our chance to end it. Stick together, follow Emily, and don't give them a single advantage. The first wave of Alpha Hunters attacked, diving from the sky. Reed's team fired, grenades exploding against alien armor, plasma bolts streaking across the mountains. Every hunter that fell only seemed to make Trath angrier. Emily guided the team toward the weapon chamber. Almost there. Keep moving. The pulse is growing. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. A massive claw smashed into the ice wall behind them. Reed looked back. A gigantic alpha hunter, bigger than anything they had faced, had broken through. Its armor glowed red, and its eyes burned with intelligence. Cover me! Reed shouted, raising his rifle. The team fired relentlessly, but the creature was fast. It sliced through metal barriers as if they were paper. Reed dove forward, stabbing a plasma blade into its side. Sparks flew. The creature roared but didn't stop. Emily activated the core console. The weapon beneath the ice began to hum loudly, sending vibrations into the mountain. Cracks spread across the glacier, glowing lines of energy crawling through the ice. The Alpha Hunter stumbled, confused. Its systems couldn't handle the weapon's pulse. Another burst of energy struck it, and it collapsed, twitching. Reed breathed heavily. It's working. Above, Trath growled in fury. What is that? Emily spoke into the comms. It's the weapon. It recognizes us. It's targeting all of you, Commander. Trath slammed his clawed hand against the console. Impossible. We are the hunters. The mothership shook as the weapon's pulse reached orbit. Alpha hunters in space faltered, shields failing. Explosions tore through the fleet. On Earth, humans cheered. They had survived the first counterattack. But Trath was coming down, and he was not alone. A shadow fell over the mountain. The mothership itself descended, its massive form blocking out the sky. Energy from the weapon reflected off its armor, causing brilliant flashes of light. Emily turned to Walker. Colonel, we can't stop him with guns. Only the weapon can neutralize him. But it requires someone to get inside the ship itself. Walker swallowed. Then that's our mission. Reed, you take the shuttle. Go in, plant the override device. Emily, guide you remotely. Reed's team nodded, determination in their eyes. Let's finish this. The shuttle blasted into the sky, dodging plasma fire from Trath's ship. Inside, Reed strapped himself to the console, gripping the override device. The ship's hull shook as energy beams tore through it. Emily's voice guided him. Left, now forward, avoid the claw. Perfect. You're almost at the core. Trath sensed the intrusion. Intruder. Kill them. Alpha hunters surged toward the shuttle, but the weapon's pulse disrupted their systems. Shields failed, claws jammed. Reed reached the core, slamming the device into place. Sparks flew. Energy surged violently. The ship shook. Trath screamed, a deafening sound that echoed across the mountains. His body convulsed as the weapon's energy infiltrated his systems, rewriting his DNA in real time. Outside, humans watched as the mothership's engines faltered. The Alpha Hunters fell from the sky, their armor cracking, bodies frozen mid-air. The weapon pulsed one final time, a brilliant white light that swept across the battlefield. The mountain quaked. Ice cracked. And then silence. Reed's shuttle returned to Earth. His hands shook, but he smiled. It's over for now. Emily approached the console. The weapon pulsed one last time, then dimmed. The Alpha Hunters were gone. The Korvac fleet destroyed. And for the first time in centuries, the Earth was safe. Walker surveyed the battlefield. Cities lay in ruins, but humans had survived. Humanity had fought back, not as prey, but as hunters. Emily whispered, almost to herself. We weren't just defending. We were reclaiming what was always ours. Reed looked at her. And if they ever come back? Emily smiled grimly. Then we'll be ready. Humanity always is. Above the planet, the sky cleared. The stars shone brightly, as if watching, waiting. Earth had proven its strength. The predators had come, and they had never returned. But somewhere, far across the galaxy, faint signals flickered from what remained of the Korvac network. A promise. A warning. The hunt was over. For now. The world was quiet again. The sky had cleared, the stars shone brighter, and the sound of war was gone. Humanity had survived. Cities were broken, but people were rebuilding. Fires had turned into lights of hope. For the first time in history, the human race had united, not for greed or power, but for survival. In the rebuilt command base, Colonel Walker looked over a wide digital map of Earth. The red zones, once overrun by Korvac, were now turning green. Life was returning. Dr. Emily Hart entered the room, her uniform covered in dust. It's strange, she said softly. A week ago, the world was ending. Now, it feels alive again. Walker smiled faintly. Alive, and stronger than ever. We've learned something important, Doctor. Fear doesn't destroy us, it wakes us up. Emily nodded. And it made us something new. Hunters. But peace was never simple. Deep underground, inside the weapon that had saved them, strange readings began to appear. Emily had been studying it for days. Its energy hadn't vanished, it had changed. It was alive in a new way. She called Walker to the lab. Colonel, the weapon isn't shutting down. It's growing. He frowned. Growing? Into what? Emily touched the holographic display. Not sure yet. It's absorbing radiation from space. I think it's evolving, maybe even protecting us. Walker folded his arms. Then it's part of us now. Far away, in the ruins of the Andes, Sergeant Reed and his squad searched through the wreckage of the Korvac ships. Most were destroyed, but some had fragments of strange tech still glowing faintly. Careful, Reed warned. Those pieces still hold energy. We don't want surprises. As they searched, Reed found a cracked helmet, the mask of Commander Trath. Inside it, a faint light still pulsed. He lifted it slowly. Emily needs to see this. Hours later, the mask sat in the lab under heavy shield protection. Emily studied it carefully. The readings were faint, almost like a heartbeat. Walker watched from behind the glass. Don't tell me he's alive. Emily shook her head. Not alive. But something of him remains, a memory, maybe even consciousness. This technology doesn't just store data, it keeps minds. She activated a scanner. A voice echoed faintly through the room, broken, distorted, but familiar. You think, you've won, the voice said. Walker's eyes narrowed. Trath. You are strong, the voice continued. Stronger than we believed. But every hunter knows. The prey that learns, becomes the next predator. And every predator is eventually hunted. The transmission ended. Silence filled the lab. Emily turned slowly. He's warning us. There are others out there. Bigger. Stronger. Watching. Walker sighed. Then they'll find us ready. Months passed. Earth healed faster than expected. The ruins became rebuilt cities. The scars of war turned into monuments of unity. But humanity had changed. They no longer looked at the stars with fear. They looked with hunger, curiosity, determination. Emily stood on the observation deck of the new orbital station. Below her, Earth glowed blue and alive. Reed joined her, still wearing his patched armor. Never thought I'd see it like this again, he said. Emily smiled faintly. You fought for it. We all did. He looked out at the stars. Do you think they'll come back? Her expression hardened. If they do, they won't find the same planet. The next time someone hunts us, we'll already be waiting for them. Far beyond the solar system, faint signals moved through space, the last remnants of the Korvac network. Some carried warnings, others coordinates. One, however, carried something new. Curiosity. The message translated roughly as, do not hunt Earth. Learn from it. It spread like a whisper among distant civilizations. A story of prey that became predator. Of humans who stood against the galaxy's deadliest hunters, and won. Back on Earth, Walker stood at a memorial wall. Names of fallen soldiers shimmered under the morning sun. He touched one of the engraved names. You didn't die for nothing, he whispered. You gave us the future. Emily joined him quietly. The Sentinel is quiet now, she said. But its systems still respond to our DNA. It's like it knows us. Walker nodded. Then maybe it's our guardian now. A reminder, or a warning. Reed approached, holding a small piece of Korvac metal. We melted down their armor, he said. Turned it into this. He handed Walker a blade, sleek, silver, and marked with 3 claw lines. Walker smiled. A trophy. Reed shook his head. A message. Emily tilted her head. What message? Reed looked up at the sky. Let the galaxy know, the predators came to hunt humanity, but they never returned. The 3 of them stood together, the blade glinting in the sunlight as the wind whispered through the ruins of the old world. And far above, beyond the moon, beyond the stars, the signal from Earth carried across the galaxy, a pulse of strength, courage, and defiance. Humanity had been hunted. But now, humanity was the hunter. The story of Earth became legend, told in every corner of the stars as a warning. Never hunt what can learn.